Thank you. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I am Geng Maneng. Because of my complicated first name, I'm running as Dr. Eng for City Council. I was born in New York. My parents had a Chinese laundry where I worked from age 11 to end of college. 35 plus years Torrance homeowner, married, raised 2 children through Torrance public schools. I have a PhD in physics and 35 plus years as a space industry scientist, that's a rocket scientist, working with contractor personnel from technicians to vice presidents solving difficult problems in space systems. I believe this Torrance City Council needs a scientist on board to help make more informed and better decisions on the numerous complex issues that will frame the future of Torrance. Much of my civic activity has been part of citizens groups to prevent inappropriate things from invading our residential neighborhoods, which could have deteriorated quality of life. I helped lead HADIT, Homeowners Against Drilling in Torrance, opposing 75 oil wells in Bishop Montgomery's sump. The project was withdrawn. As part of Save Our Schools, we opposed replacing Jefferson Middle School with a criminal rehabilitation center. The center voluntarily relocated. Jefferson has reopened. I challenged an EPA permit allowing Dow Chemical to burn heavy metal contaminated hazardous waste in Torrance, potentially releasing dioxin. The EPA added in dioxin monitoring and reduced many permitted pollutants like lead, arsenic, and mercury by 99+%. Dow then canceled the project, potentially saving Torrance air from massive pollution for 30+ years. However, the February 2015 ExxonMobil refinery explosion is a game changer. This explosion should have never happened in a million years. It is something that citizens groups alone cannot fix. That's primarily why I'm running for City Council. I ask for your support. Thank you. Yes, I think it's wonderful that the Torrance police are now beginning to do referrals and making homeless people aware that there are a lot of services not only in Torrance but around the South Bay. And I think there should be better coordination between Torrance and the rest of the cities in the area to do that. I'm aware of a program where some people said, look, we've got some federal land that's basically sitting vacant, and they, I forgot what city it was, they converted it into basically housing for homeless veterans. And so it's programs like that that I think we should do more. I'm really pleased that we have a new Social Services Commission, so this is no longer underneath the radar screen. Thank you. Yeah, I certainly, I'm in favor of it, but I think that if you don't do it the right way, it pits neighbor against neighbor. That's not what we want to do. Before my time, there were turkey farms out here and oil wells. So you don't need tree ordinances for that, but eventually when you put a lot of buildings there, you need building codes and things like that. And then people put trees and shrubs, and they tend to grow. They don't just sit there. So I think it's very good that's part of the evolution of the city that you now have a tree ordinance. And something I think that hasn't been mentioned is that it's also potentially a fire hazard. And so I think it's wonderful. It has to be done the right way. I think that I know the community is split down there, and it's somewhere between 0 and 100%. I think it's work out the good devils in the details to keep everybody about as happy as they can. I think it's a good idea. Well, I think that Torrance is doing good, and I think they could do some more. But one of the key things is that I know where I work, we had a underfunded pension, and then they changed the rules, and all of a sudden it went from 85% to 95%. And so there's a lot of accounting assumptions that go into these long-term projections, and I think it goes throughout our whole government about having liabilities and unfunded liabilities. So what I'd like to see is Torrance to undergo a study to compare it with other cities of comparable size to see where we sit. And if we're sort of in the middle along with everybody else, and they're going to change the rules to prevent everybody from going bankrupt. So I think we're doing the right thing. I'd like to see that comparison. But I think it's one of the things you work incrementally, and I think it should be done that way and is being done that way. Well, I actually think that Toyota's facility is a very large facility. Maybe the Planning Commission should look at some planning ideas to break it up into smaller facilities. I'm not sure you should put all your eggs in one basket and bet on one horse, even though one might come along. So I'd like to see more effort into trying to figure out what the right size of things are and to poll the community and have meetings of what they think would be acceptable, and to have the Planning Commission actually create a range of possible ideas for the facility, and have it and plan for the different possibilities and see what fits with the community, instead of looking for a white knight, only looking for a white knight. If one comes along, that would be great. I think better refinery safety should be the top special project. I'm not for closing down the refinery, but I think, and I'm not even for immediately getting rid of all the HF, although there's a legal precedent for doing that, but I think doing nothing is not the right choice. And I think the people of Torrance are concerned about refinery safety, the impact of public health, the way these flares have been going and everything. So I think we need a much better coordination between the City Council, the City Manager's Office, the AQMD, and everybody else to chart a path forward for the refinery. I like to say that, you know, the feds are the 50,000-foot level, the state maybe is 5,000, we're ground zero. That would be my top priority. Thank you. I am the only scientist running for the City Council. There are no other scientists on the City Council presently. I think when you get these exceedingly complex issues associated with the refinery, I'm concerned that historically, when they get technical paper, if you're a business person, it's sometimes hard to see where the devils are in the details. If I get elected, if you vote for me for the City Council, my hope is to work with everybody else on the City Council, find the devils in the details, try to develop a good path forward, to get a majority of the City Council to get on board with finding a good path forward for the refinery that's protective of the public health and safety, and I think it's possible. Well, you know, I would say that I wouldn't be totally against it. One of the questions for the future is mixed-use developments, and so it might be a good place to try a mixed-use development, which is a combination of both housing and commercial, but it has to do with devil's in the details and what kind of plans and what is brought forward, but I wouldn't categorically say no. Technology-intensive thing, it always has a lot of hiccups. I think it's a good idea, and I think it will just continue to evolve and be a better and better idea, and you just have to work out the bugs, of which there are a number of them, but I don't see any of them as being insurmountable, and I look for it to continually improve and actually improve a lot more. And I'm sure I could help.
Okay, thank you. Another ExxonMobil question. Will ExxonMobil ever be able to complete their sale, in your opinion?
Oh, absolutely. I just want it done in a manner that's protective of the public health and safety, and I think there are a lot of other options besides the path of just taking all the pollution controls off. There's a 6-hour window now that was reduced from 48 hours thanks to a lot of public participation, and I'm proud to have been part of that public participation. So the amount of pollution that is being allowed with all the pollution controls off has gone from 48 hours down to 6 hours, 6 hours continuous. Other people in the community said we want it done at night, we want notice. I would like to see all the permit conditions enforced, and if they can't get the thing started within that 6-hour window, I would like to hope that they won't come up with a new way around what the present plan says, which is they have to shut it down and replan to make it safer.
Okay, thank you.
I think water is one of the most important issues for the future. I've worked very hard in my private life to conserve water, and you know, there are a lot of things that need to be done for water in the future, and testing is one of the, data is good. Do it and develop a plan. I think more attention needs to be paid to that. I think some of the things with the drought, having people conserve, I think that should be made permanent. Water is important. It's more important than oil.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I think it would be just terrible to have it any other way, because you're going to get 1,000 different answers. And what happens when somebody trips because some homeowner did it a strange way, and is that they've tripped on city property, and that's another lawsuit. Now the city has to manage it.
Okay, gang. What is your position on historic preservation?
I think historic preservation is good. I think it's been a long time coming. Like anything, it can be done well and it can be done poorly. I'm hoping that it will be done well. I was born in Greenwich Village. My parents had a Chinese laundry there, and it was a nice district. And then it got declared a historic district, and it really made the house prices go much higher. But I think it needs to be done properly. In Greenwich Village, they controlled the facade, and they put restraints on it. But you could do anything else you wanted with the interior. So it's all a matter of the devil's in the details. I think we're on the path to do it right. I sure hope we are. And I think it's good for the city.
Should we prevent the city's labor unions from donating to campaigns or raising campaign funds? So should we change the finance ordinance, and then also about the labor unions?
I think we have some of the most restrictive campaign finance ordinances around. They're much more restrictive than the California ones. And I think there's a restriction on total dollar amount, but not a restriction on who's allowed to give that money. I'm running a very low budget campaign, but I think it's fine that I was very pleased with the fact that Torrance has its own code and it's very strict. And so unless it's broke, I don't see any reason to fix it. And I think right now, organizations like a union are still allowed to, but they have a dollar value, and if you exceed your dollar value, somebody will get after you, and I'm glad that there are campaign police looking at that. I aim to play by the rules.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to say thank you for everybody coming out, and thank you for the League of Women Voters for hosting this event. I am a different candidate than everybody else here. I have very few endorsements. My path has not been through what has elected most people to the city council, going through first being a commissioner and then this commission or that commission, getting the endorsement of former mayors. And there's a good reason for that. The good reason for that is that most people help improve quality of life. We all try to do that incrementally. And when I looked over my history of public service to the community, it has always been as part of citizen groups to try to prevent something that would have really deteriorated our quality of life. And 3 times I've done that with the Bishop Montgomery Sump oil wells, closing of Jefferson, and preventing 30 years of Torrance pollution by Dow Chemical, which keeps all of our air clean for 30 years. However, I think the problem is that the refinery explosion is a game changer. And if you don't have public safety in Torrance, then businesses will not be attracted to Torrance. The people will have this cloud hanging over our head. So that's why I'm really running, is that I want to help fix that problem. I'm a scientist. I think I'm the only person running that can make real progress to work with the present refinery owners and the new ones to help make the refinery safer so that it's not a cloud that hangs over all of our heads. In addition, I think having a scientist on the city council will definitely bring a new perspective to the city council that I think can help on lots of issues besides just the refinery. I ask for your support. Thank you very much.